Throughout history, fame, success, and wealth have given the impression of invincibility. When we think of celebrities, we often imagine people whose lives are perfect, whose public image is flawless, and whose achievements place them above ordinary struggles. Yet behind the bright lights, applause, and glamorous lifestyles, there often exists a hidden human vulnerability. Some of the most beloved black celebrities, who achieved greatness in music, sports, film, and dance, faced private battles with devastating diseases, particularly sexually transmitted infections and their long-term complications. These illnesses often crept in silently, with little warning, and changed the course of their lives forever. Arthur Ashe, for example, a tennis legend whose name still resonates in the world of sports, represented intelligence, perseverance, and dignity. Known for his calm demeanor and sharp strategic mind on the court, Ashe inspired countless fans and became a symbol of hope and leadership. However, in 1983, during a routine heart surgery, he received a blood transfusion that was unknowingly contaminated with HIV. At that time, awareness about HIV/AIDS was extremely limited, and treatments were still in their infancy. The virus remained hidden for years, gradually weakening his immune system, even while Ashe continued to appear publicly with his usual strength and composure. By 1988, he began experiencing severe health complications, including persistent headaches and frequent hospitalizations, which ultimately led to the revelation of his HIV-positive status. Despite the public shock, Ashe remained composed and continued to educate people about HIV and AIDS, urging awareness, compassion, and medical attention for those affected. Tragically, his health deteriorated rapidly over the following years. By the early 1990s, his body had weakened significantly, and he required ventilators to assist his breathing. On February 6, 1993, at age 49, Arthur Ashe passed away due to complications related to AIDS, leaving behind a legacy that extended beyond tennis. His life story serves as a reminder that illness can affect anyone, regardless of fame or status, and highlights the importance of medical safety, awareness, and ongoing research. Ashe's courage, both on and off the court, continues to inspire new generations to confront challenges with dignity and determination. Similarly, Kevin Peter Hall, an actor famous for his towering presence in Hollywood, also faced a silent battle with HIV after receiving infected blood during a medical emergency. Known for roles that required extraordinary physicality, Hall used his height and presence to transform the characters he portrayed into memorable and compelling figures. Following a serious car accident in Los Angeles in 1990, Hall needed urgent blood transfusions to survive, unaware that the transfused blood contained HIV. Within months, his health began to decline, with persistent high fevers, respiratory difficulties, and a weakened immune system that left him vulnerable to infections. Despite the medical attention he received, Hall's condition worsened quickly, and by April 1991, he had succumbed to complications caused by AIDS at just 35 years old. His death was sudden, heartbreaking, and a stark example of how even life-saving medical interventions can carry unforeseen risks, emphasizing the importance of rigorous testing and public awareness. These stories reflect a larger, often overlooked reality. Fame cannot shield anyone from illness, and diseases like HIV and AIDS silently impact individuals across all walks of life. From musicians like Gil Scott-Heron, whose powerful voice captured social struggles and shaped early hip-hop culture, to dancers like Alvin Ailey Jr., whose artistry redefined modern dance, these celebrities faced unique health challenges that were invisible to the public eye. In each case, the illness did not discriminate based on talent, influence, or cultural impact. Their struggles remind us that behind the success and adoration lies human fragility, and even the strongest and most celebrated individuals are not immune to the challenges of health crises. Beyond the physical symptoms, these diseases carried social stigma, emotional burdens, and mental health struggles, making their journeys even more complex. Celebrities like Rudy Ray Moore, Sylvester James Jr., and Eazy-E lived lives of vibrant expression and creativity, often pushing boundaries in music, film, and performance. Yet, their health silently declined due to infections acquired through unprotected relationships or contaminated medical treatments. The pace at which these diseases progressed varied, sometimes taking decades to manifest, other times erupting rapidly with life-threatening consequences. In every story, the combination of medical vulnerability, public scrutiny, and personal courage created narratives that were as inspiring as they were tragic. It is essential to understand that these stories are not merely about death, they are about resilience, awareness, and the ongoing fight against illnesses that continue to affect millions worldwide. The legacies of these celebrities extend beyond their art, sports, or performance. They serve as reminders of the human side of fame and the responsibility we have to educate, support, and destigmatize health struggles, particularly those related to HIV, AIDS, and sexually transmitted infections. Their lives teach us that courage is not only in public triumphs but also in facing the most private and painful battles with dignity, and that the impact of their struggles continues to influence advocacy, research, and compassion for future generations. Music, dance, and entertainment have always been realms where Black creativity thrives, but these fields also exposed many artists to high-risk lifestyles, whether due to frequent travel, long nights, or personal choices that left them vulnerable to infections. Gil Scott-Heron, often called the godfather of spoken word and a pioneer in socially conscious music, created art that mirrored the struggles of society, blending poetry, rhythm, and activism. Yet beneath the powerful stage presence was a personal battle that spanned decades. Through exposure to drugs and high-risk behavior in the 1980s, he contracted HIV, a virus that remained mostly hidden while slowly undermining his health. For years, Scott-Heron continued to perform, write, and influence generations of musicians and activists, even as his physical strength waned. Hospitalizations became more frequent in the 2000s, each time leaving him weaker and more vulnerable. By 2011, his health had deteriorated substantially after a European tour, during which he pushed through performances despite declining stamina. Ultimately, he succumbed to complications from HIV/AIDS in May of that year, leaving behind a profound artistic legacy and a lesson in perseverance and the cost of unseen battles. Similarly, Alvin Ailey Jr., the founder of the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, transformed the world of modern dance, bringing Black artistry to global stages with breathtaking performances that blended strength, emotion, and cultural identity. Ailey was not only a dancer but also a visionary choreographer whose works carried deep social and personal narratives. Unbeknownst to many, he contracted syphilis earlier in life, which over the years silently affected his nervous system, ultimately contributing to declining health. In the late 1980s, he experienced tremors, memory issues, and seizures, which led to hospitalizations and long-term treatment attempts. By December 1989, despite aggressive medical care, he passed away at age 58, leaving the dance world mourning a luminary whose artistry had inspired countless students, performers, and audiences worldwide. Rudy Ray Moore, the actor, comedian, and creator of the iconic character Dolomite, similarly experienced a long-term health battle. Known for his bold performances and contributions to the Black entertainment boom of the 1970s, Moore lived life with energy, humor, and creativity. However, he acquired HPV, a virus that contributed to the development of liver complications over decades, further complicated by other medical conditions like diabetes. His health gradually declined, culminating in his passing at age 81 in 2008. Moore's journey highlights that even long lives, filled with achievement and laughter, can be shadowed by health challenges silently acquired and compounded over time. Artists like Sylvester James Jr., the disco icon whose voice and presence opened doors for non-binary and LGBTQ representation in mainstream music, faced similar battles. After achieving worldwide fame and captivating audiences with soaring performances, he was diagnosed with AIDS after his immune system began failing in the mid-1980s. Treatments were limited at the time, and his body declined rapidly, with sarcomas, pneumonia, and other complications leading to his death at age 41. Each of these stories reflects not only personal tragedy but also a broader social narrative about the struggles of health awareness, prevention, and care in communities disproportionately affected by HIV and other sexually transmitted infections. Eazy-E, a foundational figure in gangster rap and West Coast hip-hop culture, also serves as a sobering example. Through unprotected relationships, he contracted HIV, which rapidly led to AIDS. His death at the age of 31 shocked fans and the music industry, emphasizing how quickly a disease can progress without detection or treatment. These narratives demonstrate that fame, talent, and influence do not provide immunity from serious health challenges. They also highlight the importance of awareness campaigns, testing, and compassionate public discourse about diseases that carry both physical and social consequences. In telling these stories, it is critical to remember that each celebrity is more than the illness they suffered from. They were innovators, advocates, entertainers, and cultural icons whose lives inspired millions. Their struggles, while private and sometimes hidden from the public eye, reveal the complex intersection between personal vulnerability, societal expectations, and the universal reality of human fragility. Moreover, their experiences teach lessons in resilience, medical advocacy, and the need to address stigmas surrounding illness in both public and private life. Today, organizations, foundations, and activists continue to honor their memory by promoting education, research, and support for people living with HIV, AIDS, and other related health challenges. The impact of their battles goes beyond personal loss. It has shaped policy, awareness, and cultural understanding, ensuring that their legacy includes both artistic brilliance and meaningful advocacy for health and human dignity. The stories of these celebrities also highlight the way society has historically misunderstood or stigmatized diseases like HIV and AIDS, particularly in Black communities. Early awareness of the virus was limited, and misinformation often led to fear, prejudice, and shame. Celebrities such as Kevin Peter Hall, Arthur Ashe, Gil Scott-Heron, Alvin Ailey Jr., Rudy Ray Moore, Sylvester James Jr., and Eazy became unintended teachers for the public, as their illnesses brought attention to the silent and devastating impact of sexually transmitted diseases and their complications. Hall, for instance, demonstrated how accidental exposure to HIV through medical treatment could have fatal consequences, emphasizing the need for safe blood practices and rigorous medical protocols. Ashe's advocacy highlighted both the vulnerability of even the most disciplined and successful individuals and the importance of public education about HIV, AIDS. Similarly, the arts and entertainment community learned lessons about health safety and awareness through the tragic experiences of Scott-Heron, Ailey, Moore, Sylvester, and Eazy. Beyond their personal struggles, these celebrities left enduring legacies that went far beyond their performances or athletic achievements. They became symbols of courage in the face of illness, champions for education, and inspirations for social change. Each story reinforces the idea that diseases like HIV, AIDS are not moral judgments, but medical realities that require attention, compassion, and proactive measures. Their lives also demonstrate the human cost of stigma, as many faced fear, secrecy, or misunderstanding while managing their health. By sharing their journeys, the public gains insight into the challenges of living with serious illnesses, the value of medical advancements, and the critical role of empathy in public discourse. Moreover, these stories encourage communities to prioritize health screenings, safe practices, and supportive networks for those affected by infectious diseases. In reflecting on the lives of these 15 Black celebrities, it becomes clear that their achievements, struggles, and advocacy collectively represent both the fragility and strength of human life. Fame and talent cannot shield anyone from illness, but knowledge, awareness, and compassion can protect individuals and communities from unnecessary suffering. Their experiences continue to shape cultural understanding, inspire activism, and remind us of the importance of addressing health challenges openly and respectfully. By learning from their lives, we honor not only their contributions to art, music, sports, and culture but also their courage in confronting illness, often in silence and with grace. Each celebrity, though taken too soon or after long struggles, teaches us a lesson in resilience, the value of medical vigilance, and the enduring power of human influence in the face of adversity. Through education, awareness, and remembrance, the legacies of these extraordinary individuals extend far beyond the spotlight, reaching people everywhere with a message of care, understanding, and hope for a healthier future. When we think of celebrities, we often picture bright lights, music, laughter, and lives that seem larger than life. We see them performing on stage, acting on screen, or sharing their lives on social media, and it is easy to forget that behind the cameras, behind the applause, they are human, with vulnerabilities like anyone else. Some of the brightest stars, unfortunately, faced illnesses that silently attacked their bodies, and among these, sexually transmitted diseases played a tragic role. One of the most shocking stories is that of Eazy-T, the legendary gangster rap artist who helped define the sound of West Coast rap. Known for his bold personality and electrifying stage presence, Eazy seemed unstoppable. Yet in early 1995, his body began to fail him. Severe pneumonia struck, and his lungs, the very organs that allowed him to scream, rap, and perform, could no longer exchange oxygen properly. By March 10, he was in the intensive care unit, connected to a ventilator, fighting for every breath against acute respiratory distress syndrome. Doctors tried everything to stabilize him, but sepsis spread through his body, causing swelling, kidney failure, and complete exhaustion of his system. Just 16 days later, on March 26, at the young age of 30, Eazy passed away. The world lost a music icon, not in the bright glare of a concert stage, but in the quiet beeps and hums of a hospital room, a sobering reminder that fame and strength do not protect against the silent progression of disease. Similarly, Howard Rollins, a talented actor whose performances left audiences breathless, fell victim to a hidden infection that slowly weakened his body over years. Known for roles that demanded deep emotional immersion, Rollins was respected by peers and audiences alike, leaving behind a trail of unforgettable performances. But beyond his public life, he carried untreated gonorrhea, contracted during a period of high-risk behavior in the 1980s. This infection silently spread through his body, causing joint inflammation that he often ignored. By November 1996, the disease erupted violently, high fevers, painful swollen joints, and kidneys failing under the strain of infection. Despite high doses of antibiotics and medical care, resistant infections spread rapidly, affecting his lungs and brain. Seizures became frequent, and consciousness slipped away. On December 8, 1996, Howard Rollins died at the age of 46, leaving behind a legacy of artistry cut short, and a tragic warning about the dangers of untreated infections and the hidden toll they take on the body. Music, too, bore the cost of disease, as in the case of William Jermaine Stewart, an international singer whose lively tours and public appearances hid a silent killer. During the 1980s, unprotected gay relationships introduced HIV into his system, remaining undetected for years. By 1995, the first warning signs appeared as jaundice and abdominal pain, but the severity was underestimated. In early 1997, he received a diagnosis of liver cancer with lung metastasis and end-stage AIDS, his immune system nearly destroyed. Hospitalization followed, with weight plummeting from 165 to under 120 pounds in a short span, and multiple organ failures marking his final weeks. On March 17, 1997, at age 39, Stewart passed away, leaving behind music fans who never realized the silent struggle he endured. His story is a stark example of how lifestyle choices and delayed medical care can lead to tragic consequences. Poetry and art were not immune to such losses either. Essex Hemphill, an influential black gay poet, used his words to challenge society, discuss identity, and reveal truths others feared to voice. Yet behind his powerful performances and writings, his body was battling HPV-related anal cancer, contracted during earlier risky behaviors. By 1995, the cancer spread rapidly, causing unbearable pain, weight loss, and severe respiratory issues. Ventilator support became necessary as his lungs weakened, but it could not save him. On November 4, 1995, Essex Hemphill passed at age 38. His creative spirit and the impact of his poetry live on, but his death remains a sobering reminder that early medical detection is crucial, especially for diseases that can hide silently for years. The world of performance art also lost Willie Ninja, a legendary figure who brought Harlem's underground ballroom culture into mainstream recognition. Known for his impeccable movements, precision, and charisma, Willie inspired generations of dancers and performers. However, the same freedom and openness that fueled his artistic expression exposed him to HIV infection. By 2004, the effects of the virus became evident: gradual vision loss from cytomegalovirus retinitis, repeated hospitalizations, and weakened organs. His heart began failing, and opportunistic infections took advantage of his compromised immune system. By September 2, 2006, at the age of 45, Willie Ninja passed quietly due to heart failure and AIDS-related complications. His legacy, however, remains vibrant in the ballroom community and dance culture worldwide, a celebration of expression and courage, alongside a warning about the silent progression of disease. Radio, a medium connecting communities daily, also saw loss through Melvin Lindsay, a bold voice in Washington, D.C. Lindsay's energy, charisma, and unique style made him a pop culture figure, influencing young listeners and shaping local music tastes. Yet, behind the microphone, his body silently suffered from untreated gonorrhea contracted in earlier years. By February 1992, he began experiencing severe back pain, high fevers, and blood in urine, signs of kidney failure that were initially ignored. By March 10, his condition worsened drastically, leading to near-constant dialysis and multi-organ failure. On March 26, 1992, Melvin Lindsay passed at age 36, leaving listeners shocked and mourning a voice that had once defined their daily lives. His story illustrates the insidious nature of untreated STDs and the importance of paying attention to warning signs. Africa's music scene lost its revolutionary figure, Fela Kuti, a pioneering Afrobeat artist whose performances were explosive, defiant, and political. Fela's personal life, filled with multiple partners and a high-risk lifestyle, led to HIV infection that remained undetected for years. By 1996, visible signs of AIDS appeared: Kaposi's sarcoma, organ swelling, and heart problems. By 1997, repeated hospitalizations and complications from opportunistic infections plagued him, and on August 2, 1997, Fela died suddenly at home from heart failure. His musical legacy continues, but his life story reminds the world that even icons of culture and rebellion are not immune to disease, especially when early warning signs are missed. In television and comedy, Ete Wilson entertained audiences with laughter and charisma. Behind her public persona, however, HPV infection silently progressed to cervical cancer over years. By 2010, the cancer reached stage 3, spreading aggressively to the liver, lungs, and bones. Chronic kidney failure, pulmonary complications, and extreme fatigue marked her final weeks. By June 14, 2012, Ete Wilson passed at age 48, highlighting the importance of early detection and awareness of silent illnesses, even for those who appear outwardly healthy and vibrant. Her story demonstrates that public perception can hide private struggles and that timely medical intervention can sometimes be the difference between life and death. Finally, the digital age also saw its losses with Jessica Pway, a social media star known for positivity, family content, and relatable daily life stories. Her life was tragically cut short due to misdiagnosed HPV-related cervical cancer. Early symptoms were overlooked or mistaken for minor conditions, allowing the cancer to spread to bones and liver rapidly. Intensive hospital care, frequent blood transfusions, and pain management could not reverse the damage. On March 11, 2024, Jessica passed at age 36. Her story is a modern reminder that awareness, medical checks, and early intervention are critical, no matter how young or active someone is. Looking back at these stories together, a pattern emerges: behind fame, talent, and artistic brilliance, illnesses quietly destroy lives when left unchecked. From the stages of Los Angeles to the radio booths of Washington, from the streets of Harlem to the concert halls of Africa, these celebrities faced the same vulnerability that affects ordinary people. Eazy-E's rapid respiratory collapse, Howard Rollins' joint and organ failure, and William Stewart's struggle with AIDS and liver cancer all illustrate that no level of fame can shield the body from the consequences of untreated infections. Similarly, the struggles of Essex Hemphill and Willie Ninja demonstrate how lifestyle and health choices, combined with limited early detection, can lead to tragic outcomes, even for those admired for courage, art, and innovation. Beyond the individual stories, there is a deeper lesson about awareness, prevention, and medical care. Gonorrhea, HPV, and HIV are diseases that, if detected early, can often be treated or managed. Delay, misdiagnosis, or lack of access to care turns them into life-threatening conditions. Melvin Lindsay's kidney failure, Fela Kuti's organ damage, and Ete Wilson's cervical cancer progression show that silent diseases do not announce themselves until it is often too late. The public, including fans, rarely sees these struggles. Social media, performances, and public appearances create the illusion of invincibility, while in reality, the body may be quietly deteriorating. Lastly, the emotional and cultural impact of these losses cannot be overstated. These celebrities were more than victims of disease, they were trailblazers, artists, and leaders in their fields. Music, poetry, dance, radio, television, and social media all lost voices that inspired generations. Their stories carry a dual message, a tribute to their brilliance and a warning of the hidden dangers of STDs and lifestyle risks. Eazy-E, Howard Rollins, William Stewart, Essex Hemphill, Willie Ninja, Melvin Lindsay, Fela Kuti, Ete Wilson, and Jessica Pway all shared one tragic commonality, but their legacies continue to educate, influence, and remind us of the delicate balance between life, health, and ambition. As you reflect on these stories, consider the importance of awareness, prevention, and empathy. Behind every famous name is a human being whose life, health, and choices intersect with medical realities. The applause fades, the camera stops rolling, but the consequences of neglected health remain. Sharing these stories is not meant to sensationalize, but to inform and honor the lives of individuals who gave so much to the world, yet faced silent battles few dared to see. These stories encourage discussion, education, and a reminder that health awareness is a responsibility, whether famous or not. When all these stories are placed together, one clear and painful truth becomes impossible to ignore: fame does not protect anyone from disease, and silence can be deadly. The lives we discussed, from musicians and poets to dancers, radio hosts, comedians, and social media creators, show that sexually transmitted diseases do not discriminate based on talent, money, or popularity. Many of these celebrities lived in times when awareness was low, stigma was high, and medical conversations about sexual health were avoided or delayed. Some ignored early symptoms because they felt strong, busy, or unstoppable. Others were afraid of judgment, exposure, or the truth itself. In many cases, the diseases stayed hidden for years, quietly damaging organs, weakening immune systems, and setting the stage for sudden collapse. What makes these stories even more tragic is that many of these conditions, HIV, HPV, gonorrhea, are now better understood, manageable, and in some cases preventable with early testing, treatment, and education. Yet the pattern repeats, even today, proving that knowledge alone is not enough unless people are willing to face reality early. Another important lesson from these stories is how dangerous misdiagnosis and delayed care can be. In several cases, early warning signs were present but dismissed as stress, fatigue, or minor illness. Pain, bleeding, fever, vision problems, weight loss, and weakness were ignored or explained away. By the time proper diagnoses were made, the diseases had already spread too far. Organs were failing, immune systems were destroyed, and treatment options became limited. This shows the importance of listening to the body and demanding proper medical attention, especially when symptoms do not go away. It also highlights the responsibility of healthcare systems to take patients seriously, regardless of age, fame, or background. No one should have to fight not only a disease, but also disbelief or delay while their health declines. There is also a strong emotional lesson hidden within these stories. Many of these celebrities lived full public lives while suffering privately. Fans saw smiles, performances, confidence, and success, while behind closed doors there was pain, fear, and uncertainty. This contrast reminds us that social media, television, and stage performances rarely show the full truth. Someone can look healthy, happy, and successful while quietly battling a serious illness. This is especially important today, in a world where online images often replace reality. Comparing ourselves to others without knowing their struggles can lead to false beliefs about strength and perfection. These stories encourage empathy, reminding us to be kinder, less judgmental, and more understanding, because we never truly know what someone is dealing with behind the scenes. The topic of sexual health itself carries deep stigma in many communities, especially within Black communities, where open discussion about sex, disease, and prevention has often been discouraged or shamed. This silence has cost lives. Fear of being judged, labeled, or rejected has kept many people from getting tested or seeking help early. The stories in this video are not meant to shame lifestyles or personal choices, but to highlight the danger of silence. Talking openly about protection, testing, treatment, and responsibility is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of care for oneself and others. When conversations are avoided, diseases spread quietly. When education is blocked, myths replace facts. Breaking this cycle requires honest discussion, community support, and access to healthcare without fear. Another powerful lesson is the role of responsibility, not just to oneself, but to partners and communities. Sexually transmitted diseases do not exist in isolation. One untreated infection can affect many lives. Early testing and honest communication protect not only individuals, but entire networks of people. Many of the tragedies discussed could have been reduced or delayed if early responsibility and care were taken. This does not mean blaming the victims, rather, it means learning from the outcomes. Prevention is not about fear, it is about respect, awareness, and protection. These stories also remind us of how fragile the human body truly is. Talent, confidence, creativity, and ambition all depend on health. Once the body begins to fail, everything else slowly fades. The strongest voices fall silent. The fastest dancers stop moving. The brightest smiles disappear. Health is the foundation on which all dreams are built, and once it is ignored, everything else becomes vulnerable. This reality does not mean we should live in fear, but it does mean we should live informed, aware, and proactive. For younger viewers especially, these stories serve as a warning without preaching. Life feels long when you are young, and consequences often feel distant. But disease does not wait for old age. Several of the people mentioned in this series passed away in their 30s and early 40s, ages when many people feel invincible. The truth is that early habits, early choices, and early awareness shape long-term outcomes. Regular checkups, honest conversations with doctors, and protection are simple steps that can change entire life paths. Finally, this series is also about respect and remembrance. These celebrities were not defined by their illnesses. They were artists, creators, leaders, and voices of their time. Their diseases explain how they died, but not how they lived. Remembering them only through tragedy would be incomplete. Their music, words, performances, and influence continue to inspire millions. By telling their full stories, including their struggles, we honor their humanity, not just their fame. We learn from their pain so others may avoid the same fate. As this video series comes to a close, the goal is not fear, shock, or judgment. The goal is awareness, understanding, and conversation. If even one person chooses to get tested, seek medical advice, or talk openly because of these stories, then these lives continue to make a difference. Fame fades. Health matters. Silence kills. Awareness saves. And behind every famous name is a human story that deserves to be told honestly, carefully, and with respect.